Hello my friends and welcome. We have lots of the news and updates for today, but let's start from the Frontlines review. The situation, as you may see, doesn't look great for Russians if we speak about the military effectiveness on the front lines. They bogged down completely. Yeah, sometimes they might take a couple of the fields under control or some of the tree lines, but not more than that. Actually, Russia is physically incapable, especially during the winter time when there is cold, to advance on the front lines. They were effective this summertime and autumn, but you see what is happening to their convoys. For example, this one, there is the kaboom of the 1, 2, 3, 4 at least of the vehicles. So they have armored vehicle this time, a hangar type, and all of them were hit by Ukrainian FPV drones. It's been a while since I saw those vehicles advancing in the convoys, but I actually predicted that Russia would do the same steps because there is no any way to go further. Either small infiltration attacks that doesn't work nowadays, or convoys that also do not work. But because they have this political will and order from the higher command, they go further and further. And it's basically one-way ticket for those Russian soldiers. All of them were found, ambushed and annihilated. Ukraine with FPV drones really nailed down this Russian convoy. They tried to go in Novopavlovka. I'm going to show you on the military map, but you see that it's just useless. Ukraine was capable to create the kill zone using lots of the drones, and all of the Russian movements, they're very well visible on surveillance drones as well. Ukraine command knows well before that Russians are going to Ukrainian positions, and in most of the cases Russians are incapable even to reach the zero front line. They're being kaputted on their so-called controlled territory. I just want to show you on the military map. So here we have Mirnograd and Pokrovsk. If we zoom in over here, this is Novopavlovka, and the Russian convoy was hit near Filia village. About Novopavlovka itself, Russians went there several of the times, but each time their convoys and their forces are being annihilated completely. This area is a gray one because Russians are trying to move again and again and again, but you see what is happening. Some of the drone shots of this particular one, I already showed it to you. Duality or dualism of the Russian army today advance either on the quad bikes or using tanks and armored vehicles, hangar types of those, but the outcome is mostly the same. In Zaporizhia Oblast, we have some of the good news from Gulaya Pole itself. Ukraine went on a counterattack. For now, we don't have this information on this Mayakov's published military map, but we have the data coming directly from the trenches. Let me show you one of the videos. There, Ukrainian soldiers stormed Russian positions. They caught Russians off guard and were capable to imprison many of the Russian soldiers, as you see on the video. So they will be treated well and later on hopefully exchanged. The Ukrainian officials continue to insist on a total exchange, all on all, but Russia, as usual, is against it. They continue to insist that for them it's not profitable because they have more of the Ukrainian prisoners of war, so they might push Ukraine in other spheres, taking our guys as the hostages. Well, it's hard to say who has more of the POVs, but Ukraine publishes many more of those videos, especially right now, of how our guys are capturing Russians. Sometimes I see from the Russian side videos of how they unalive Ukrainian military personnel. They do war crime after war crime. That's all about barbarian Russian army.
Мы зайдем в Лиман.
This Russian said that they will go to Liman. We're gonna take Liman, he said. We're gonna enter it. Well, here he is. He was captured as well by Ukrainian soldiers in Liman direction. So his promise didn't work. Ukraine, after all, was more successful, and maybe in his dreams he may go to Liman. Hopefully will be exchanged for Ukrainian soldiers as soon as possible. Alright, just now we have the update from the Mayakovsk analytic on his military map, which you may find in the video description just below, where 3 of the Russian vehicles were hit. This is the attack towards Novopavlovka, which I mentioned to you before, so Russians left the red zone and immediately were cancelled. If we go to the Pokrovsk-Mirnograd direction, here Ukrainian army is more successful in using drones. There were several of the attacks on Russian infantry. Russians surrendered here. Yeah, several of the Russian soldiers decided to surrender to Ukrainian side. I wonder when it was filmed because there was no snow. But this convoy, it looks like something new. I haven't seen it before. So yeah, the snow. Here we have the video. This is some sort of the Russian vehicle. Yeah, electronic warfare in operations, hard to confirm whether this vehicle was hit or not. But later on, this electronic warfare was hit by another Ukrainian drone, probably fiber optic controlled. And more of the videos, I think those are the quad bikes. Yeah, those are definitely all-terrain vehicles which were hit by Ukraine. Jack confirmed, identified, but it's hard to judge again from the perspective because the distance is high and distortions are severe. So we need some extra confirmation about the success of this attack. If we move from Pokrovsk and Mirnograd towards Konstantinivka, you can see, judging on those symbols, this is one of the most hot directions of the front lines. About the drone usages, about the loss of the vehicles. I see that they try to go from the southwest direction from Stepanivka to enter the settlement. They use aviation gliding bombs, artillery, and lots of the drones. Those 123 armored vehicles were MRAPs of Ukrainian army. They were lost, and I already mentioned them in one of my recent videos. Those losses happened for the last couple of weeks, but Ukraine caused new losses for Russians. I can see this armored vehicle, and probably we have even some of the video. That's why I like this map, because immediately it shares the original video. We may even watch it. Chasiv Yar, yes. And this is the Russian BMP and the other one over there. Russians are using combined attacks on those all-terrain vehicles together with Hangar type of BMPs. Yeah, actually this is the MTLB vehicle. Well, they tried to go, but they were hit by Ukrainian drones straight away. The convoy came to the standstill. Russians tried to land from the vehicle, 6 of them infantry army personnel, and later on Ukraine finished the job over here. They hit the vehicle from behind, so all of the soldiers of Russian army were flatlined. Those who landed from the all-terrain vehicles went to the local constructions and also were hit. What can I say? One more miserable attack by Russians that failed. In Liman direction, I already showed you the video with the guy who wanted to reach Liman. We're gonna go to Liman, and he was captured together with his colleagues. On the way, they went in a small infiltration attack attempt, and finally it was not successful for them. Well, in a way successful because they stayed alive, and this is the best outcome for average Russian soldier. If they surrender to Ukrainian side, they are staying alive, they're well fitted, they are secured, they will be put into some of the prison camps like a normal prison, and no one is misbehaving towards them. There are lots of the interviews with Russian soldiers who are imprisoned in Ukraine. During those interviews, they have opportunity to speak with their relatives back in Russia, and relatives are usually shocked. First of all, because their sons and fathers are alive, and secondary, they were already waiting for compensation from the Russian Defense Ministry. So they're sometimes even sad. Alright, now let's switch to the peace talks. According to the information coming from legacy media Reuters, there is no breakthrough. America, together with Russia, continue to push Ukraine for capitulation, to give up Donbass, remaining 20%, but the most fortified area of entire region. A Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha already said that what kind of the peace efforts, trilateral meeting in UAE, diplomacy for Ukrainians, this was another night of Russian terror. And indeed, Russia launched one more heavy strike on Ukrainian cities, civilians. Kyiv is out of electricity right now. They cut also the lines from nuclear power stations. For example, Rivne NPP is supplying the central regions of Ukraine, but Russia cuts those wired lines or substations. Power lines from Zaporizhia nuclear power plant were also cut by Russians the last night. Despite the truce was announced 1 week ago between Ukraine and Russian side, and some of the Ukrainian specialists even entered the facility to make it work better, to restore the supplies using different lines. But we see that Russia simply doesn't care, and by the time there are peace talks ongoing, Russia hurts Ukraine the most. Yeah, Putin ordered a brutal, massive missile strike against Ukraine right while delegations are meeting in Abu Dhabi to advance the America-led peace process. His missiles hit not only our people but also the negotiation table. It's 100%. Today, there is one more round of negotiations in Abu Dhabi, but you understand that Putin wants just to push Ukraine to give up territories just like that, and Americans, they want to achieve it as well. Witkoff is not commenting those Russian strikes on Ukraine. For him, everything is all right. In Davos, he was asked, what about the Russian strikes on Ukrainian energy infrastructure? He mentioned, oh, Ukraine also targets Russia, it's the war, something like that. And that's, by the way, what Donald Trump also mentioned. This is very critical for Ukrainian families, especially those who live in big cities, big towns. No water, no heat, no electricity. It is terrible, guys. It's not the summertime. Russia was especially waiting for the most cold period of the year, for the most cold weather to start to hit Ukraine the most. Energy facilities. Throughout the year, there were massive strikes, but just recently Russia started to use hypersonic and ballistic missiles precisely on the energy infrastructure. Zircon missile, which is very hard to intercept, was used against Ukrainian substation just the last night. Missile that was used to fight against NATO is used to terrorize Ukrainian civilian population. That's all we need to know about Russia and, by the way, about administration of the White House. Trump just stated that it's very difficult for Ukrainian people to live there in the cities. Yeah, it's impossible to live, but yeah, there is no any prompt action. But at the same time, politically, United States is on the Russian side if we speak about Ukrainian war. They're also pushing Ukraine to give up those territories. Ukraine, I guess, will not agree on that because it will be just betrayal. The only good news that Zelensky said yesterday is that maybe United States of America will support Ukraine with more PAC-3 missiles for Patriot systems because Ukraine should have the capabilities to intercept Russian ballistic missiles. So the only variant for Ukraine right now is to use those portable generators. Our partners, they understand the importance of the functioning Ukrainian economy because without power it cannot function, so they boosted the deliveries of those generators to Ukraine. For example, this is the truck from Poland. 90 generators were delivered to Kiev just the day before yesterday. Well guys, I hope I'm gonna record one more video today. Stay tuned and thank you so much for making my content possible with your kind support on Patreon and on membership of the channel. Also, you may follow me on Spotify. I publish the same videos out there. There is the video information also on Spotify. You may watch me, you may listen to me, and there is also subscription option. So join me over there as well. On Spotify, I publish not just the content from my Ukrainian update channel, but also from the other channels. So everything is united out there. So it may give you more context. The link for everything, for all of my media, is in a video description right below. And also, please don't forget to subscribe for the channel and press your like to boost this video in algorithms. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.